Welcome back to the Chatooine Show, everyone, the best and brightest Star Wars show in the galaxy, filled with the wretched hive of scum and villainy. Here every Wednesday night, except last Wednesday night. We had a nice little break. But I'm Star Wars only. I'm joined with Lunga and Palpamemes. And tonight we're going to rank all the animated Star Wars shows from worst to best. And we had no plan for this, if I'm being honest. I moved last week. We had a nice little break, and I did not have a break. So how have you gentlemen been on the vacation that we had?
Tired.
I went to bed pretty early on Wednesday night. That was nice.
Yeah, did you? Did you?
Yeah.
You weren't up till midnight talking with us about God knows what.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no. I mean, we've been doing a lot of music. We're probably like 80% done writing the album. So our album is fully written instrumental wise, and now we're about like 70-80% done with the vocals. And so it's really coming together nicely. So outside of work and Star Wars, I've been focused on music. It's been fun.
I'm really excited for that Chatooine album that we're going to be releasing.
So what's going to be titled? Yeah, the Diaries of Chatooine show.
Wouldn't it be called the Book of Chatooine?
I fucking hate that show so now.
I feel like that's the most accurate name, or maybe the album just be called "You Member," and that'll be it. The hell is this?
Yeah.
What is up with you?
I added Chatooine. Let everyone know we're going live. Fucking Donald Trump bot responded.
Oh, Trump
he wasn't having it.
They weren't even 4 years ago. That was like 8 years ago now when Trump.
And that's why I am not in Palpameme's Discord.
Oh, it's insane. I had to modify the bot settings.
Once I see politician bots. I'm
no, Lunga, real quick. Once we got him in, I had a guy. He literally gaslit Donald Trump into saying full-on racial slurs in my Discord server at like 2:00 in the morning. I had to go modify the bot for reasons. Yeah, it was bad.
You see, that's why Chatooine just has mild-mannered C-3PO as his bot. That's it.
I have C-3PO in mind too. He's very polite, and then fucking Donald Trump comes in and starts saying stupid shit.
Someone talks shit to 3PO, he just say, "Goodness gracious me." That's all he'll see. That's about it. He's not gonna.
Not Donald. He knows what he wants.
I don't even touch my Discord server. I haven't used that thing in so long. But shout out to my Discord mods for running that bad boy for years at this point.
Shout out to those people that I haven't talked to in 4 years. Good job.
I hit them up. I checked in. They were like, "Oh, he's back." I'm like, "Hey, everybody good?" And they're like, "Yeah."
You didn't log into your Discord account until like 6 months ago. What are you talking about?
When you came back, they're like, "We thought you died of COVID."
God. Yeah, no, that was crazy. And I had not talked to those guys in years. Anywho, speaking of our Discord server, you guys are watching this nonsense live. We do have a Discord server for the Chatooine show. So click the link in the description below. We have the link down there. Check it out, because starting next week, we're going to be doing the Acolyte predictions and previews. Next Wednesday nights, that show is going to be about the Acolyte and getting ready for that series. So for the next couple months, we're going to be covering the Acolyte. And on Discord, we're going to be talking about it all the time. And a shout out to our members, channel members. You members? Because we have members.
I remember the members. They're very kind.
Yeah, we got one in the chat right now that's got his little member badge, emoji, which is the rebel
the dice
insignias, which Palpamemes likes to call dice, but they're actually, blames George, because he's the one who made him look like dice. That's their rank insignias.
We'll just turn them into member berries. That way everybody's a member, and they'll member being members. And there's no hierarchy to the member berries. I think there's like a president member berry. I don't member specifically on the member berries. But join us on Discord. Follow us on all the social medias and everything. And I guess let's try to rank all these Star Wars animated shows that there has been made and been done. And some have not been done well, and some have been done great, and some have been done dirty, and some are just kind of there, like Tales of the Jedi. So all the series that we are going to rank is going to be Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, the Clone Wars micro series. I think is something we should count. And tell me if I'm wrong. I think we should do Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire as separate series.
No.
What do you guys want to? Someone said 100%. The other one said no.
We're ranking animated, right?
Yeah.
So Visions and Tales of Jedi should both be in there for ranking animated.
No.
You can't just arbitrarily decide. I don't count those.
No. He said
I
Empire
was saying
and Jedi split.
Yeah, I was saying should Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire be the same show in this ranking, or should they be separate shows? But you're right, I did forget Visions.
Yeah.
All right, so we have 1, 2, 3,
They are separate
4,
shows.
5, 6, 7.
I mean, I know you want to think of them like seasons, but they're not. They're separate.
That's
how
they
different.
said it. They said following the first season.
Sure, but it's not a continuing story.
Yeah, I know.
Do I once again have to explain the format? It's not a continuing story.
I know what vignettes are now, Lunga. Okay, I wasn't a fan. Tales of the
It's
Empire
not a continuing story. It's not a continuing story, so it's not season 2. It's volume 2. Is that better? It's more like volume 2.
Okay, well, you tell the people at the Lucasfilm website, or Star Wars website, they need to get.
They change things on there at the drop of a hat.
They only paid those people $50 the article, so I mean, they're not putting a lot of investment into that. There's a lot of editors and publications, but anywho, I think we should start with the worst one. We got to find out which one we think is the worst Star Wars animated show. Now, we didn't include Resistance because none of us have seen it, and I feel like that's like on a different level than any.
It's automatically the worst one.
Yeah, I feel like that's like
that's it's so bad. We're not even including it. That is the one exception. I said we got to include all of them. We do got to include Resistance. It's the worst. Okay. A, because we didn't watch it, and B, because we were right now to watch it.
Okay, so 100% Resistance is at the absolute bottom.
I think we're gonna be 100% on what the second worst is.
Okay, so this is I don't know. I don't know if we're all going to agree on this or not. The worst of the worst. Lunga has to go first. So this is how we always do it. We go clockwise. Lunga, what do you think is the worst Star Wars animated show that is not called Resistance?
You see, and when I would rather do this as a ranking in order of what I like the most to what I like the least, rather than saying the best and the worst.
Well, it's all subjective, of course.
Well, yeah, the reason why, because we've shit on it every single time we did an episode, obviously, and it was mostly, a lot of it was fun, but there were some high points of it and this and that. So I don't like necessarily calling it the worst or second worst. It's my least favorite because of everything that we talked about every time we talk about it. It's Bad Batch.
Damn, that's really at the bottom. Okay.
Well, Resistance is below it, so.
No, that's sure. I can't keep forgetting about Resistance like everyone else does. Palpmemes, do you share that sentiment? You think Bad Batch?
I will not say what I least like, what I most liked. I will say the worst is the Bad Batch. That show, I don't even know what was that show. I mean, we had some moments in season 3 in building up to like, okay, we might be going somewhere with this plot point or that plot point, and it went fucking nowhere. And now they're clearly setting up the Omega show and the Rebels X Omega or whatever it's going to be.
It's
called.
Not about plot points, Palpatine. It's about character arcs.
I know, but they absolutely set up plot points.
But I want to care about.
Thought maybe went somewhere and they didn't.
Plot points. Palpatine.
But when you set certain plot points up,
don't ignore that. Ignore the plot points because that's not important. The bonding experience between Omega and her brothers is what's important. Palpatine's. That's why it is the greatest Star Wars animated show ever made.
And if you don't agree, you just simply don't understand. It's the worst. I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
I will say worst. Bad bitch.
Man, is it really that bad though? Because I mean,
it is the worst out of all. What could be better?
Hold on. See, this is when you know Palpatine's is a white guy from Oklahoma. Bad bitch is not a negative term. It's a good term, so you can't call it a bad bitch. It is when
I'm calling the Bad Batch a bad bitch. Yeah.
No, it's never. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say. Oh,
I'm gonna stop talking. Go ahead, only. Go ahead. Because you're questioning this somehow. I'm baffled.
So, in preparation for this episode, I did watch a couple of Star Wars animated shows. Not all of them. Just picked an episode here or there. I watched Twilight of the Princess. I watched the first episode of Rebels for the first time in 10 years. I mean, holy shit, it's been a long time. So I watched Bad Batch, the very first episode, I think like a couple hours ago. It wasn't, I mean, it was good. You know, what kills me is what Lunga's talking about here, about it's not about the plot. the plot of the Bad Batch and what's going on with the clones and what's going to happen to them, and then everything that has to do with Mount Tantus and everything, stuff like that was interesting. But then
nothing happens to them. They live happily ever after.
I know that's what sucks. Is they meet the second they bring in Omega. I cringe. Like even watching the first episode, where I was just like, oh my god, like this feels so forced almost. Where I think Star Wars has had this problem with kids, where they're just like, how do we get kids to relate to this? Let's get a kid in there. Let's make the kid.
You're gonna hate Skeleton Crew.
I can't even imagine. I can't.
Fuck them kids. Fuck them kids.
I agree with Japanese looking.
So we are in 100%. Bad Batch.
I didn't know if I was gonna put that below another show. If I'm being honest.
Well, you have to make your. Well, this is the time for you to rank. You got to make up your mind before we move on.
Okay, so
what other show could possibly be worse than the Bad Batch that I have on my list?
Wait a minute. Now that I mentioned it, I do gotta write this down. I do gotta write them down before I.
I've already got mine written down.
I already have Resistance.
I did not.
I'm doing all of ours. Oh, okay.
Not. So hold on. Let me make sure we got them again. I know we got the regular Clone Wars series. We got the Clone Wars, the old
micro
one,
series.
which you called micro series, right? That's Tartakov.
Yeah.
Clone Wars micro series.
Anyways,
we have Rebels.
What's your pick then?
I wanted to say Tales of the Jedi, if I'm being honest. I feel like I find more enjoyment with Bad Batch. There's certain episodes and certain aspects of it that I genuinely like.
Oh, it's just because we know you hate Ahsoka. This is every time there's something with Ahsoka, it's at the bottom. It's 100%. It's Ahsoka. Because the one thing you said you kind of liked was Dooku. You just wish they gave you more.
Or the Ahsoka episodes were very, very bland. Could be that, because I didn't like the Ahsoka episodes either, and I like Ahsoka as a character. I really do. I think she's overrated as hell, but I still really like her. Definitely more than Star Wars only. But I find that interesting because, like I said, you like the Dooku episodes. I feel like, and I'm not going to speak for you. Okay, maybe I just misremember, but I thought you genuinely liked the Dooku episodes, even though you wanted it more because of the format, as we concluded. For me, when it comes to, I won't spoil. Okay, yeah. If I say my next thing, I'm going to spoil my next ranking. So let's continue.
Well, what I was going to say is that even though I do like the Dooku episodes, two of them are kind of a little bit too similar for me. I love the one with Yaddle and everything like that. For the most part, there's a lot of things in it where I'm like, gosh, you could have just gone a little further. Like Lunga said, it might just be the format that I really do not like.
And that's perfectly fine, yeah.
But when I look at Bad Batch, comparing it to Tales of the Jedi, I remember having some more enjoyment with the Bad Batch, where there's elements of that show where I was like, I actually liked that, and there's the animation style they did with it and everything. There's something to the Bad Batch.
Same fucking style as Tales of the Jedi.
I know, but when it came out, when the Bad Batch came out, it was like, wow. And I've seen Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire recently. Watching that,
I mean, I guess if you're looking at it as like an improvement from, but no, you can't fucking say that because we had Clone Wars season 7. It looked the same.
Oh, hey,
no, I disagree.
Welcome to a new member, Tom.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Bulkhorst.
We have a new member. You guys remember members?
You guys remember Tom? I remember Tom, and
Tom.
Tom's my friend. I remember.
We're glad you remembered.
Let's all comment it down. I remember Tom. Welcome, Tom.
I remember Tom.
But
I'm gonna be honest. I'm going to put Tales of the Jedi at the lowest for me personally.
That's fine.
But
I'm shocked. I'm genuinely shocked though, Star Wars. I have to admit.
I am too. Zach is asking us if we're counting droids.
I ain't never seen no droids.
Fuck if I know. What about Droid's story that is apparently happening at some point in the
existence
of Lucasfilm?
Don't you know that already happened? They just never released it.
Oh, they did it by not doing it.
Anthony Daniels has had that in his closet for freaking how many 4 years now? I remember they announced that. I don't know if you guys remember, but I remember when they announced
in all fairness,
and nothing happened.
Who was excited about that? I mean, that was lined up next to like Obi-Wan, I think Acolyte, and we're like fucking droids. But anyways,
well, yeah, but it was like a throwaway. But it's just another one of those things.
It was interesting.
Like you announced Rogue Squadron, Lando, Droid Story, Rangers of the Republic.
Now you're just reminding me of all the shows that are not.
Yeah, none of these things ever happened. So anywho,
All right.
Yeah, for my personal ranking, I have Resistance at the bottom, clearly. Then I got Tales of the Jedi. I don't think Bad Batch is worse than Tales of the Jedi. I actually do find the characters in Bad Batch to have a little bit more connection going on and their story being a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, you
than
have
what I saw
3
Tales of the
seasons
Jedi.
to do that versus like 45 minutes.
I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty.
Anyways, let's continue. I know we're never gonna go in circles.
I can't justify the choices of Bad Batch. All right, so I get now we've got the worst one-ish out of the way. I mean, how many series are we doing? We got to do this in like a number. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 series in total, I believe.
Unless we're counting droids and Ewoks from when I was 10 years old.
No,
back in 85.
we're counting Resistance, which I guess makes it 8 in total. So number 8, we got Resistance. Number 7,
You're so unorganized.
I know. So number 7, we're doing Bad Batch, I guess, because you guys said it was Bad Batch.
Yeah, you lost. Sorry.
I did. I lost that one. That's unfortunate. All right, so I guess the next worst one to you guys, or especially Palpatine, I feel like, is going to be Tales of the Jedi. Am I right?
Why don't you ask
Wrong.
Lunga?
Okay. Hit me Lunga.
This is where I'm going to get a lot of hate. This is where
I already know what you're gonna say. It's gonna piss me off.
the Lunga hate that Lunga doesn't know anything about Star Wars comes out, even though I do know it. I've seen it. I'm old enough to have seen all of it. Sorry, but the Micro Clone Wars series is down there. I hate that animation style.
God.
I hate the animation style. I can't stand it. I know people love Grievous from it, and I every time I see Anakin's face in there, I want to throw a rock at the television. I hate it. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I just can't do it. I can't.
So you're really gonna do my
Yeah.
my Clone Wars?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Listen, your Ahsoka hate threw Tales of the Jedi into the fucking trash bin for no reason. So you know what? I'm gonna hit you in the fucking. I'm gonna hit you in the chonies. I'm gonna hit you in the chonies and hit you with the show that was around when you were a kid. That you're like little fucking 8-year-old fucking Star Wars only bouncing around the fucking living room, pretending he was fucking General Grievous.
I probably was. I remember learning how to ride a bicycle, being like, "Oh, it's like his little wheel thing from Revenge of the Sith, and it just spins, and that's how you ride a bike, right?" It was not how you ride a bike. Palpmemes, do you concur?
Fuck no. What the hell? The second, and I can't, the second worst for me is Tales of the Jedi. I liked the Dooku episodes apparently more than Star Wars only liked them. But the Ahsoka ones, and I say this as someone who does like Ahsoka. In fact, I almost bought her fucking lightsabers some time back, believe it or not. I just didn't because I lost the bid on eBay, but I had it bid, all right? I had a bid on her fucking lightsabers. So don't tell me I'm a Ahsoka hater. The episodes were just so dry, dull, flat. Well, any stupid word I can come up with, that it really tanked the show for me. The Dooku episodes had some form of interest for me personally. And I like seeing Dooku with a younger Qui-Gon, and all that. That said, with what it was, and it might just be the format, it overall is just not something I'm very pleased with Star Wars. But when it comes to Tales of the Empire, I liked it certainly a good amount more. So I'm still trying to figure out if it's the format or just the stories they simply decided to tell for what my biggest issue is with this sort of type of story. But Tales of the Jedi is my second least favorite.
Shaggy,
dummy.
He doesn't even look like Shaggy.
That's the show you loved.
It's fucking hysterical.
All right.
You remember when Grievous was actually intimidating? Remember when
he was
Grievous
pretty good in
actually
Empire.
had a presence to him? And what? Oh, Tales. That was brand new. That was brand new.
Look at that.
All right.
Look at that. If anything made a joke of Star Wars, it's that right there. Look at that. Look at that.
Get Luke Titty Milk on screen. Oh wait, no, Goldman's not here. Goffman's not here. Sorry. Yeah. If he was here, I'd put it on screen.
Wait, Palpmemes, you wrote down your list, right? Like 1 to 8. Okay,
yes.
okay. Because
what the fuck?
Now thinking about this, yeah, because we're doing Clone Wars.
Resistance.
We got two of the Tales of the whatever. Bad Batch, Resistance, Visions, Rebels, the micro series.
Oh,
It's 8
Visions.
series in total. Yeah.
Oh no,
Don't forget
I got
Visions,
you. Yeah. No, I've got Visions there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
okay.
good.
That way, now that I'm thinking about this, at the end, when we all say what we have as our ranking, we'll do what we did with the movies, where we add them all up, divide by 3, and then whatever has the lowest
Just do
number
the
is clearly
number,
number
yeah.
1. Highest number is going to be the last one, of course. So
I got you.
Lunga's got the micro series at his number 6.
This is
Palpatine
like when I
says-
put Rise of Skywalker at number 1 for our movie rankings. It just
Yeah.
fucked the whole thing up.
So Palpamemes, you have Tales of the Jedi. You're number 6. My number
Yes.
6. No, it's Bad Batch, right? Yeah, no, because my original number 6 is it's Bad Batch for sure. No, thinking about this, no, I still think Bad Batch is better than Tales of the Jedi. There's stuff I enjoy about it, but we talked about this damn show ad nauseum. It's incredibly boring at times. It takes filler to the fucking max. And I don't find the characters all that interesting or engaging after a certain point. Like Echo was a unique member of this team, and they don't even really deal with him at all. Trying to think who else I didn't like how they handled in this show. Crosshair was great. That was really it. Wrecker didn't have much of an arc. I guess Hunter became a father at the end of the day.
You know what I think it is,
That's it.
Star Wars Only? I think for me, the reason why I'm doing so much pushback is because Tales of the Jedi costed me like 40 minutes of my time. The Bad Batch costed me God knows how many hours over the course of many years. And so I think I'm more triggered about it because of that.
You
Man,
cost
I
me
understand that.
an hour a week of my time,
For the
4
past, like,
hours
3
a month.
years.
Yeah,
Okay.
but don't you
All
love
right.
it?
48 hours a year you waste of my
minimum.
time, Palpamemes.
Okay,
And that is not
God, I'm
counting.
here for a reason.
And that is not
right?
counting the hours of time you waste on Discord with me.
Yeah, but at least we're not talking about or watching the Bad Batch. I'd rather
See,
argue with
that's-
you than
that's-
watch Bad
that's
Batch.
Where I push back, where I think Bad Batch is better than Tales of the Jedi, because I found the Cad Bane episode, the very first episode, when this dropped on I think it was 2021 for May the 4th or whatever. That was kind of a fun day to be able to watch the Bad Batch and everything, and talking about the way they showed the ending of the Clone Wars era and this dawning of an empire and everything. Story beats like that, the plot when it came to stuff like that, I found a lot more interesting than Tales of the Jedi, personally. So when I look back at Bad Batch, just I have a sour taste in my mouth because I fundamentally disagree with a lot of the decisions they made narratively with that series. But the setting, the element of these clones being different, kind of on the run and everything, I did like a lot of that.
I
Not
think
everything,
you just had
but a good
I think
chunk.
you had a bad batch of something when you watched it. That's the problem.
Yeah,
No,
the
my
show.
batches are always good. My batches are normally pretty solid. I've
don't know.
tested the
I
market
don't
here
know.
in Orlando. I got the best that you can get without going to the legal people. So all right, yeah, number 6 is my of my ranking is Bad Batch. So for me, let's everybody go through what they got so far. For me, number 8 is Resistance, number 7 Tales of the Jedi, number 6 Bad Batch. Lunga, I believe you have it Resistance, Bad Batch, then the micro series.
Yep.
And then Palpamenes has Resistance, Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi. Correct?
Correct. Yep.
All right. So now we got to move on where we get into the top 5, which doesn't mean much because there's only 8 freaking series. Got to get to number 5 for everybody. Lunga, I'm gonna let you start this one out. At this point, this is where my judgment of you guys as people kind of starts to come in here, where I get a little nervous. Lunga, what's your number 5?
Man, fuck you. Fuck you. Because I was raising children when you were still swimming in your dad's nuts. So you can't fucking judge me on anything.
Hey, I was there when Nixon got him and resigned. He did the peace sign. On the
Okay. Watching it on the 20th anniversary of it is not the 30th. For you, it'd be not even 30th, 40th anniversary.
I was just watching
Okay.
a documentary last night about Paul Newman and Joanne
Yeah.
Woodward or something like that. I had no idea.
The
what
reason
fuck
why
that
I
was
know
last
this is because my mother wrote it in my baby book. Nixon resigned. I think it was the day after I was born, the 24th
shit.
of August. Yeah. So
night. Damn. All right.
yeah. Again, now we're getting down to there's a small amount here, and I'm torn between two of them, but because there was more of the one that I liked because it was bigger, that's not going to be 5. So I'm going to have to put Tales of the Jedi as 5.
All right, that's fair. Is there a reason why you have it at number 5 instead of higher?
Only because the other ones overall are better. Visions is just Visions. The different types of animations was great. With the exception of 1 or 2 stories that I wasn't that into, they were still very well written stories, and that's because anime studios know how to write stories. They just do. And even the ones I thought were corny were good. So, but why are we talking about Visions? I don't have it on my list yet. So stop talking about Visions. Stop asking me why. So why do you have this one ranked lower than not the rest? Visions. You point out that.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize your list wasn't made as you're reading it.
So why do you have this one ranked lower than all the other Visions?
It's a fucking podcast. You make conversation. Yeah, I want to know why you got it lower than Visions. How memes. The fuck is your number 5? And I swear to God, if you say Visions, I'm throwing the bookshelf.
Fuck! It's Tales of the fucking Empire. I liked it.
5, really?
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it a lot better than Tales of the Jedi. But comparative, like Lunga said, comparative to the other ones for me are just way better. How is that doom and gloom? I just said I like it. But no, I think Tales of the Empire was a huge step up from Jedi. And maybe it was just the tone of everything. I like the atmosphere and tone better than Jedi. And I thought the stories were a little bit more solid and it didn't have fucking 3 useless, absolutely fucking butt-fuck Ahsoka episodes. And so because of that, it's higher than Tales of the Jedi naturally. But it was enjoyable and it gave me more hope for if they do continue this Tales of series. I'm a little more interested and intrigued now that we got Empire.
Well, I feel like my list, of course, is the most correct so far. Number 8, I got Resistance. Number 7, Tales of the Jedi. Number 6,
the most
Bad
correct
Batch.
so far. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's your stupid fucking cigarette smoking avatar you got going on there. It pisses me off.
And I'm
just
smoking
staring
a
at us
cigar
like, fuck you
right
guys.
now.
I mean, it's better than me
Black
staring
Wood.
down at you. It's just
Yeah, that's
looking
true.
at you.
Yeah,
for
I'm
memes.
Well, I'll sit here and enjoy my wood tip black and mild and tell you that my number 5 of the Star Wars animated shows is actually Visions. I have Visions at number 5. I understand this could be upsetting, but
But
I
fucking
I just think you're a
Clone
racist.
Wars.
I think you're a racist.
Fuck you.
I think you hate anime because you don't like Asian people.
No. You will
Who did you
die.
vote for in 2016?
I don't even think I was legally allowed to vote. I wasn't 18.
Don't care.
2017.
2020.
Anywho, I didn't vote either, actually, because I was in a different state and I moved that year. I have Visions at number 5, not because I don't like this or anything. I actually really do enjoy and love a lot of Visions. But like Lungo was saying, there's some episodes where he's a little cringe, but the writing's still good. There's a lot of episodes.
I never said cringe. I said corny.
You said corny. Oh, I apologize. The wrong C word.
Those are different words.
That is true. They have different implications. I found some of those episodes to be very corny as well. And there are episodes in Visions where I will fall asleep just immediately. Like it starts going out like a fucking light. But with that said,
It's the
love
entire run of
the
fucking
show.
Clone Wars micro series for me.
Those give me naps, but those are good naps. Those are like comforting. They say when you read children bedtime stories, you read them the same one over and over. They like to hear the same one because they fall asleep because they're so used to it. That's what happens. I turn on A New Hope. If I'm in a certain position on the couch, I am out. I've seen that movie so many.
It becomes like a fever dream almost, Where it's just you just get sucked into it. Yeah.
If I'm ever in a coma, y'all already know. Y'all need to play the original Star Wars movies, Breaking Bad, Sopranos, Better Call Saul, maybe a little South Park in there. I'll wake up. All right, I'll be there because I'll remember. Even in the coma, I'll remember. But do remember. This
motherfucker also watches fucking World War II documentaries wrapped in a fucking American flag, probably too.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah, and I glorify the mob culture, even though it wasn't as they put it in the shows and everything like that. I know my weaknesses, sir. And
leave my peoples alone.
Visions is still number 5. Great show, but it there's not a lot of moments where I watch it and I'm like, God, this is just peak Star Wars magic. I love this. Just very enjoyable. So number 5 for me is Visions. We're getting
Lucky for
close to the
me,
top 3 here.
Star Wars Only's rankings are not canon in my world. So that's
And
fine.
it's so funny too because my name is Star Wars Only, so only my opinion matters in these situations. You don't have to be lonely here at StarWarsOnly.com.
Have you seen Star Wars?
No kidding. I was finally watching the Plinkett review, or not Plinkett, but the Red Letter Media of, I think it's episode 8, where they say that, and I heard it for the first time. I was like, "Holy fuck, that's where that came from."
Yeah, I love that when he's talking about like
Have
how
you
Yoda
seen
acts all,
Star Wars?
Yeah, he's like, oh, Yoda's acting all stupid in the Last Jedi, and he was only doing it as a bit in Empire, and like there's a pause, and Mike Stoklos goes like, have you seen
I
Star
remember.
Wars? They're fucking
remember.
great, and I love to member. They even say member berries too. I've made it famous. Not South Park, me. I did this. So we're in the number 4 territory now, gentlemen. Getting close to that top 3.
This is where I think my legacy dies.
This is where we're gonna get in some real tight situations. And I understand you guys are gonna hate me, and I'm gonna hate you, and we've already hated each other for a while, so this is only gonna make it worse. Lunga, give us your number 4.
I'm gonna shoot Goldman in the nuts. Rebels.
I feel like that's fair. Yeah. What don't you like about Rebels, and what did you like about it enough to put it at your number 4?
Again, this is also now we are in the top 4, so we're narrowing down, right? So something's got to hit the chopping block. I liked Kanan a lot. I really liked him. I like the character. I like Hera. I couldn't fucking stand Ezra Bridger. I couldn't fucking stand him. And as much as I liked the actor oh god, his name is escaping me.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
No, who played him in Ahsoka?
Wasn't an A.
Esmond something.
Esmond, yes. Yeah. When I saw him appear and he was still talking like a fucking, how old was it at the end of Rebels? Fucking 18? Did he just like just pop his cherry at 18?
Like 16, 17 when he's a kid.
Yeah. And I see him as this fucking, 30-something-year-old man with gray in his fucking beard, still talking as a fucking 16-year-old, acting exact same. Nothing's changed.
And his eyes are like so goddamn blue.
Hate the contacts.
Which is fine. I'm okay with that. That's not a problem. Again, you guys, you diverge on shit that's unimportant. The color of his, how bright his eyes were, does not make it good or bad.
I don't know.
Can't imagine if Lucas.
But it just, I just hated Ezra. I hated his whole story. I hated his You want to talk about people bitching about the fucking lightsaber whip? Even in animated, I hated that stupid fucking gun saber. Okay.
Trash can looking thing. I saw that today.
Fucking ugly as fuck.
Thought it was cool.
This is dumb.
Nerd.
But it was just like, I mean, I knew, and this doesn't make it bad, okay? Because I hate when people say, "Oh, this was boring," because I knew where it ends up at. That's what excuse people give with anything new when it comes to the sequels. Well, I don't care because I know where it ends up at. But again, we knew this is leading up to, the rebellion and A New Hope. So that was kind of exciting, but there was just so much garbage throughout. Just to get through, some things that I like. I really like the Bendu. I like that whole idea of the Bendu. I thought that was great. And it introduced the world between worlds. Fuck that place. It's cool, but it's also fuck that place because it starts to give people license to start do whatever the fuck they want. Eventually, I know it's going to happen.
Back, please.
So that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Again, I like Sabine. I even like Sabine. I like, there was some good stuff in it, but overall, especially when we go comparing to what's left, fuck that show. Compared to what's left.
Palp memes, are you gonna throw us a curveball? What's your number 4?
Yeah, this is where I may be forced to resign. At number 4, I'm having to put the Clone Wars. This is a show
Which one?
The Clone Wars. There's only one The Clone Wars.
There's
Fuck
the
this guy.
micro-series,
No, get rid of
and
him.
there's the
He's gone.
2008
No,
one.
the
Yeah,
micro
no,
series is
no,
called Star
he is
Wars
fired.
Clone Wars, dummy.
Okay,
He is fired.
Okay. Oh,
He
I'm
is
so
fired.
sorry. You
He's
have
fired.
the Clone Wars at number 4?
Fuck
Can I
him.
fucking explain?
Get out of here.
We're at,
Nope.
okay, hold on a second.
I
Hold
almost
on.
don't
Nope.
even want you to.
We're at number 4. It's not like this is like I'm putting it last or some shit. Like, okay, let me
That's
explain.
the halfway point.
Let me explain. All right. Yes, because the Clone Wars to me is about as
It
mediocre
means
as
you
you can
put
get.
Rebels above it. That enough for me. That enough for me.
I need Goldman here. I need Goffman here. Let me discuss this a little bit because it's been a while since I've seen it and stuff. The Clone Wars for me is basically very, very oversaturated show with a lot of really good highs. It has a lot of good emotional payoffs, a lot of decent story arcs. The best example I can get is season 7. You have you guys are fucking with me. Let me explain. Season 7 is the best example, I think, and it's such a good way to understand how the Clone Wars is and why someone like me personally has it lower than other things. Everyone's like, season 7 is fucking great. And it's like, okay, which episodes? They're like, the last 4. And it's like, yeah, because the other fucking 8 sucked. It was 12 episodes, right? Season 7? And so it sucked is hyperbolic, but whatever. They weren't that good. And so that's kind of the Clone Wars as a whole. For me personally, even as a kid, right? And I grew up with the Clone Wars. I was their target audience, and I love the prequel trilogy. There is so much that is just not that good. And I understand Rebels has the same problem to an extent, but we'll get to that. But for me, it's what happens when you have a show that they extend for way too fucking long and they do way too many episodes and you just get a lot of garbage. And yes, there is some people are like the Clone Wars. What about season 7 ending? What about when Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Temple? Like I said, there's a lot of great moments in it. And that's why I don't have it at near the bottom of my list. I have it at number 4. It's right down the middle because it has a lot of good. It also has a lot of shit. And, it really just comes down to that. Now, does that mean my opinion is completely right? No. I know a lot of people that absolutely love it dearly every single episode, and that's fine. For me personally, ever since I was a kid and now, I'm sorry, I don't find it all that amusing. It's very mediocre, except for those few peaks, which are great. The peaks are high, but there's a lot of lows. And so that's why it's right down in the middle at number 4.
And I push back on you when you sit here and say 8 sucked. No, 3 episodes of season 7 stuck, and it was Ahsoka's walkabout, and it wasn't because of Ahsoka. It's because of those fucking sisters that were pointless. They didn't add anything.
I wasn't a fan of the ones
all.
with the Bad Batch either, personally. But again, that's just me.
I agree with Palpatine. Season 7 is definitely overrated because of the Siege of Mandalore, but that does not take away.
Which the Siege of Mandalore was great, but Star Wars only. Except for I think season 5.
People were so excited about the Bad Batch season because of those episodes.
Okay, I'm speaking for me. Hold on. I'm speaking for me, myself, and that's it. All I can say is my own personal opinion. Star Wars only, you bring up like, yeah, because of that, they had the highs and it kind of takes over the lows and stuff. You don't have to agree with me on this, but I would say that's kind of consistent throughout basically almost all the seasons. I think season 5, if I remember correctly, was the strongest out of all of them. But it's kind of like that throughout the whole show.
No, I understand
Personally.
any complaints people have for Clone Wars, but I feel like the show, as it goes on, gets a lot better. I do want to apologize on behalf of the Chatooine show for the comments Palpatine's have made here today. I understand.
You say you're thinking, oh, he might be fucking right.
No, oh my God, you're so wrong. You were so wrong.
Fuck you. If you say, yeah, you're right about season 7, how you can say I'm wrong about the rest of it when the rest of it has the same issues?
No, because it's not the same issues. All right. Yes,
he can agree to your one point, but it doesn't mean he agrees with your assessment.
Which I would say that my one point works for almost all of the seasons.
No. But you want no. It's vastly different though. You want to know the major problem with season 7 is that it didn't have the writers' room and the directors that the rest of the show had. Season 7 was Dave Filoni. It was all Dave Filoni. So yes, like Longo was saying, people were happy and excited for the Bad Batch to come. But I remember, oh my God, it's so funny living through
the Mandalore arcs. You have the Mortis arc. I mean, there's so much good that came out.
There's a lot of high, which is what I talked about, right?
Yes, a lot of highs. But you have way more a good show.
No, it does not. If what you have is an inconsistency of you have high and peaks, but then you have so many valleys consistently throughout. That's not a good show. That's not a good show. A good show is consistently good.
Okay? I think you're no. Hold on.
These are different characters.
You're consistently good.
They can't have.
You know how many episodes of The Sopranos I was snoring through?
The first versus just not being good. There's a difference, right? Like Andor is a show I'd put at peak. It is consistently great, even though there are sub episodes where I'm like, this is kind of boring, but the story is still really good. It's not that way for me for the Clone Wars. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you also just remember this is a show that did story arcs. That it was not. First of all, it was non. It wasn't chronologically done. It jumped around. In the show, and it did arcs where it was just clone troopers. Did arcs Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Fully aware.
So it jumped around. So
even the impact it's had on the fandom.
I'm not saying it's like Andor should be like Andor in terms of how it's formatted. I'm saying what I would consider a good show that is consistently good is something like Andor. The Clone Wars could be a great show for me, right? But it falls short way too many times.
But the fact that you're going to sit here and say that Rebels was consistently good, better than this. That's where
I never said that. And I never said that. You're putting
if you're ranking it above
hold on. No, this is ridiculous. Even in where I talked about the Clone Wars, I say, yes, that means I put Rebels higher, but I said Rebels also has a lot of lows, but for me personally, not nearly as many lows overall as the Clone Wars.
That's where I think you've lost your mind.
And you're just saying that because of the quantity.
Is it all subjective or is it not?
It is subjective, but you're objectively wrong in the situation.
Fuck you. Don't use my own terms. I mean, look, genuinely, can you guys at least...
Wars has aged so well because, I understand what you're saying about having low points. And I think, yes, if
you are objectively a bad Star Wars fan.
I like The Rise of Skywalker, but at least I'll call The Rise of Skywalker shit. I still love it.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to talk about your Rise of Skywalker opinion. The Clone Wars got better as time went on, and I understand your complaints about having lows. But when I think of you talk about these highs that this show has, Clone Wars has done something for the Star Wars community that no other animated show has done. And
that's perfectly fine.
Alive of prequel era.
That's like great for those people. There's nothing wrong with that. I am speaking for me, myself, as a fan on what I would prefer. It's nothing more than that. I'm not talking about the impact it had in Star Wars. I'm talking about who loved it, who didn't like it, why these people loved it.
As a factor and to show
no, it's not.
Why this show
it's not, because all I can say is how I personally view it, right? All I can say is my own opinion. I don't watch the Clone Wars. I don't rewatch the Clone Wars, right? Besides maybe a handful of episodes. But something like Visions, I've rewatched many, many times. There's a lot.
Just listen. This is like when you see those people that say Revenge of the Sith is the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. That's what this feels like to me. Okay, that's what it feels like.
Because it's not genuine. They're wrong.
If anything, you guys are being that way because you guys are the ones saying, no, you're wrong for not liking it as much as we like it. It's like,
wasn't that's not what I said at all. I said I cannot
I'm going insane.
Stomach. I said, no, for what? Once again, I'll repeat it. I said I cannot stomach that you have Rebels higher than this. That's all I said over and over again. That's what I've said over and over again.
You have anything? 3 other
and
shows
that's fine. And I can't.
Okay,
equally so. I can't stomach that you put the 03 Clone Wars micro series all the way at the bottom. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're insane
that's subjectively
for that.
Trash.
Argue. Yes, so is the Clone Wars. But I'm not going to argue with you and tell you you're wrong. Like that.
Whatever. I'm done with both of you. You're so wrong. But anyway,
I'm innocent in this. It's all subjective. Crowd suddenly doesn't like other opinions. It's like, come on now.
Yeah, because we like opinions.
Because I'm Shaggy. You know what this is? This is
You had a Star Wars meltdown, sir, because you can't rank these shows properly. Let me give you my number 4.
The proper way is the way I view it.
By the way, the chat has rebelled against us. They are like unanimously putting Droids and Ewok as the greatest animated show ever.
Hey, I've got one guy on my side, Rowit. He's actually on my side. He says he got my back. Yeah.
Well, you
I got a fan.
You and Rowit, you guys go enjoy.
We're homies now. Yeah, we're best friends.
What the fuck ever. I'm with Munga. My number 4 is Rebels. We talk about a lot of filler and having highs and a lot of lows. Rebels, oh my God, watching the first episode the other day, it was like time traveling because I haven't seen it in 10 years. And it's so funny because this was at the beginning of a new canon for Star Wars. We really had no idea what was happening after episode 6. Things that happened between episodes 3 and 4 were kind of just like, we don't really have anything. We have like the Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir comic books and no actual books. So it's funny looking at the show and seeing how childish it is. I hate the animation of Rebels. The highs of that show really aren't that high to me. They kind of come and go. And I hate kind of what it did to canon in a lot of ways, even with the Inquisitorius.
What it did to Thrawn.
What it did to Thrawn.
It made him a standard Empire villain rather than the complex character.
The payoff of Rebels is based on the characters, and you have to have a connection to the characters of the Ghost Crew. I really didn't like Kanan, Hera, Ezra. I like Sabine.
I like Kanan. Kanan was great. You like Zeb of all of them? Zeb. We're forgetting Chopper.
Comedic relief.
The homicidal.
I'm sorry.
I don't.
No, yeah. See, I hate that. I hate that from Rebel fans. Like, oh my god, Chopper's so funny. He'll kill the whole room. I'm like, he's a fucking droid. He's not R2D2. He's not iconic. Stop trying to make something happen that's not happening. All right. Rebels is number 4 for me. It's too much filler. And yet again, I hate to say it, it's very childish. Like even when I was watching this in high school, right after Clone Wars finished, and rewatching that episode one the other day, they kept saying something like they were like, "Who is this kid? Oh my gosh, who is this kid?" And Ezra would be like, "Who is that guy? Who are these guys?" I'm like, I'm gonna vomit because it felt like Disney-fied Star Wars. It just I cannot stomach Rebels, and I feel like it is a lot kiddier or more childish in terms of what the audience it's going for. It seems like a younger audience than Clone Wars. It's a very safe show, and like Longo was saying,
how old were you when Rebels came out? How old were you?
2014, I'd be 15, maybe 14.
Okay, fuck you. Stop calling something childish that came out while you were a child.
Okay, but why would I feel like that is more childish than the shit that I watched when it came out in 2008, the Clone Wars? All right, it makes no sense to me how it goes from, oh, this is kind of darkish to everything's happy and everything. Like years later, it was not good. I'm sorry. Rebels has its moments, but no, overall, I think it is not as good as a lot of the other Star Wars shows out there. And it's not very serious. It did not resonate with the audience that people try to make it seem like it did. It's only the people.
When I remember when I was 10 years old and Return of the Jedi came out and those Ewoks were on the screen. It was just so childish. I just couldn't do it.
I was maybe 9 years old when the Clone Wars movie went to the theaters. All right. I remember going to the theaters, watching it, and sitting there at 9 years old going, "Oh my God, this is awful. George, what the fuck are you doing?" I have been the same bitter old man since before I had a conscience. Okay. I might be Ronald Reagan in like a young body or something like that. Maybe I should become an actor and then run for president. That seems to work out. So number 4, me and Lunga both have Rebels. Palpamemes is no longer associated with the Chatooine show. We're not even counting his number 4, which apparently is Clone Wars. Now we get into our number 3s. I'm already so disappointed with Palpamemes. I don't even want to talk to you anymore. I can't.
You guys are acting like I put it. You guys are acting like I put it behind Resistance or some shit like that.
I can't. We're
in the top 4 for goodness sake.
Fine, then don't. Lunga, put the doom and gloom on him. I don't even want to look at him anymore. I'm just so disgusted.
Listen, listen.
You're taking a timeout, young man. All right.
Where's the timer?
So you all know, he shut off his own camera. I did not take him off the stream.
Yeah.
He did that to himself.
Okay, Lunga. God, I'm so nervous talking to you guys now. We're in the top 3. Lunga, give me your top 3. Well, not top 3. Give me your number 3. Sorry.
And this is only because it's non-canon material at this point. That's why it has to go below. We're in the top 3. That's why it has to go below the other one. So I'd have to put Visions at number 3. Again, the only thing that put it below it is it was short compared to Tales of the Empire was short too. But it's non-canon stuff, right? It's nothing in there that technically is canon and most likely won't be canon unless something changes. So that's why I have it left behind the last 2 items, the last 2 on my list. So yeah, Visions.
All right. I can't believe you got Visions that high up. I mean, I guess I can kind of see it with you, but why do you have it above like things like Rebels though? I feel like that's like
I explained it.
Rebels had 4 seasons. This had 2, and they're like
sure,
not canon. They're different.
Sure. Would I rather eat a gigantic plate of shit or a small saucer of delicious food?
That's firm but fair.
Thank you. I will eat. I will have the. I will have the small bowl of freshly seasoned rice over the gigantic platter of shit that was Rebels that I had to pick out things that I liked in it.
Couple little gold nuggets in there, little cornflakes.
Right.
They were actually good. My number 3 is the 2003 micro series Clone Wars, Star Wars Clone Wars. I still think it holds up to this day. I'm a, you know me, I'm a time person of when things release, how they feel at the time that they've come out and everything. The micro series really captures the feeling of the prequel era of Star Wars before the 2008 Clone Wars movie and everything. The way they showed the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin fits that a lot better than what we saw with the 2008 one, because now it's like, oh, where's Ahsoka and all this? And Anakin and Obi-Wan are so good of friends in the show, but then the movie, they're like not really all that cool.
I know, because this dude really fit the movie era. He was just perfect for it.
He was there for 2 seconds and died in an absolute.
He got fucking stepped on by Grievous and
yeah, Grievous was badass.
Asajj Ventress wasn't in the movies.
Yeah, no, but it felt like they got rid of her and explained it. I feel like it was okay to have like a little Sith assassin and then have like 5 other like Sith but not Sith.
Oh, I feel like create something that did not exist at all in the prequels. And
never mind.
They thought about having Asajj Ventress in the prequels. Didn't fall through with it clearly. But no, but even then, the Anakin and Asajj Ventress fighting, the animation where the water is like hissing on the lightsabers, and he uses the dark side to take her out, and you see flashes of Obi-Wan, then Yoda, and then it's Qui-Gon and everything. Like,
yeah,
it was really fucking cool.
With everyone drawn like they're a fucking Neanderthal.
It was off of the Samurai Jack cartoon, sir. I don't know if you remember Samurai Jack. It was a big deal. A lot of people like that animation.
I remember Samurai Jack, and I hated the animation, but at least it had fun stories. Sorry,
I had fun with Clone Wars. I like the guy who couldn't die, and Obi-Wan like stabbed him, and he like yelled at him, and then the banking clan people were all cringy and funny, and then there's that one guy with the fucked up eye where he's like, oh, they're going to need at least 10,000 Jedi. And they're like, how many they send? 100? And he's like, no. And he's like, 50? No. He's like, 10? No. How many? He's like, 2, sir. This guy was great. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, Zoink, Scoob, we got to get out of here, man. And he just runs out and Raggy, and he gets stomped on and shit. Yeah, so number 3, I got the micro series. Sue me, all right? Now we're getting into the top 2, and I'm really just waiting for Palpatine's to leave at this point. I don't know.
You never asked me for my number 3.
I know.
Apparently, I'm
doesn't
actually
matter
not.
at this point. It doesn't matter at this point.
It really doesn't. What's your number 3, asshole?
Asshole. My number 3 is Star Wars Rebels. Neck and neck with the Clone Wars. I like it a little bit better.
Oh, it's neck and neck, but it's better.
Yeah, I like it a little bit better.
No, I feel there's collusion here. I feel the Goldman has not been on the show for so long that he had a private, clandestine discussion with Palpamemes that we do not know about to
I've completely
fix the
turned on The Last Jedi.
The Civil War has gotten
until he comes back, and then when he comes back, suddenly you'll be loving it again.
I hate Rebels.
We brought in Palpamemes to balance out the show because originally it was 2 sequel, I guess you could say haters, even though we're not like haters. And then, 1 sequel lover, which was Goldman. We wanted to add another sequel lover. We wanted to have some balance, and that's where Palpamemes came in because he loved Rise of Skywalker, but Goldman did not.
You were supposed to bring balance to the Force,
to the Chatooine.
Hey, I still really like the sequels.
Darkness.
I still really like the sequels. All right.
Yeah.
I haven't changed that much.
Perfect right now.
It does. God damn it. We have twin sons here, sir. I can't have you blocking it out with your new doom and gloom phase. What'd you say you had number 3? Rebels? That's top 3? Okay.
Yeah, that's what you guys got all pissed off about.
It's just because it's better than
if this is pissed, yeah. This is the happiest pissed I've ever been.
Yeah. But no, I mean I like it it more than the Clone Wars, but I think it is close. Yeah, I like it more than the Clone Wars. I just think it's it's there.
I can't even.
Comically mad.
Yeah. All right. Now we got to get into the top 2. Longat, you're number 2. What do you have, sir?
Yeah. Number 2 is Tales of the Empire, which makes Clone Wars is number 1. So yeah.
Bada bing, a bada boom. I love that. Palp memes, you got to give us your number 2.
My number 2 is Star Wars Visions. I'm not even an anime fan. My cousin loves anime, and so when he's home for the summer, we always watch anime. And I'm like, I like some of it, but we watched Visions together when it came out and stuff, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, there was some episodes like the one on Tatooine, and I was like, that's stupid. But like with the Ninth Jedi and all, I mean, it was just really, really cool storytelling. And season 2 was all right as well, but season 1, I thoroughly enjoyed season 1. But yeah, Visions has got to be my number 2.
I have to call bullshit on him on this only. You know why?
Great. Why?
You know why?
Pray tell.
Always something.
Other
Always
than
doing
just
something
now,
wrong.
where he ranked it number 2 all time of the greatest Star Wars animations. When have you ever heard this motherfucker say the word visions?
I was gonna say that.
When have
I've never heard him talk about visions.
When have I talked about
heard him say
Rebels or the Clone Wars? Or hell, when have I talked about my number 1, which is 03 Clone Wars? I don't talk about. I really don't talk about animated Star Wars.
03 Clone Wars.
Anytime Clone Wars is brought up, you bring up that shit series every time.
Well, maybe because I like it better. And we did have a whole episode on Visions, if I recall correctly. We did the first season. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's just one of those things that are like, deep inside me, because I was doing this ranking and I was really thinking, and I'd never really thought about this. This is the first time I've really thought about ranking the shows. I realized recently when ranking these, I'm like, okay, I guess I really do like Visions more than all this other stuff.
Yeah, but just in general, when you talk about when you start when you listen, when you start doing this shit and you talk about the few sparkling goods that you've seen among all the doom and gloom that is Disney Star Wars, you've never once mentioned Visions. Okay.
When has there been an appropriate time to talk about Visions? And I've actually talked about Visions plenty of times and how creative it was. And I think that was a bold move of Lucasfilm to do.
You've said Andor so many times. I would expect to heard Visions once.
Well, Andor is fucking. I mean, we got Visions and we got fucking Andor, which you can't even see. It's so high.
No, you have all of Disney Star Wars and Andor. That's literally what it is.
Pretty much. Andor's kind of a masterpiece.
Visions is just in the bag with everything else at that point.
I really like Visions, but yeah, when we're talking about Andor, it really is separated from everything else Disney has done. And that's not me being doomed. I'm just saying they really set a high bar with that. And I pray to God they do more stuff with the quality of Andor. I think Acolyte, given what we've seen, and I say this as someone who wasn't the biggest fan of the first trailer, given what we see now, I think the Acolyte kind of has a chance of maybe not reaching Andor's bar, but really showing us more potential of what Disney Plus could be with these new eras and grand, vast stories and stuff. But with Visions, you always say you never talk about it. Well, there's not a whole lot to talk about with Visions, but I do recall us bringing up the Ninth Jedi episode all the time, specifically
I love the Ninth Jedi.
Yeah,
that's my favorite episode.
In our Rey episode, we talked about it plentiful, and we we're all like, yeah, it's fucking beautiful. And so with Visions, I think I just really like it, but there's not a whole lot of appropriate time for me to talk about it.
I want that brought into canon. I want to see some kind of show or series far in the future that deals with
Let's talk about some brought it in the comments. The Village Bride. I thought the Village Bride was gorgeous.
That was a very good episode too.
Yeah. The only one I didn't like was the Astro Boy, the droid one, where he it was kind of touching because it's like anime stories, like these anime writers are.
Yeah, there's some cutie ones that aren't.
The one I didn't like the most is that Chatooine, the sort of.
It proves anyone can have the Force, guys. And anyone can have the Force, even a droid.
Yeah, well, it's not canon, so. But yeah, sorry, I put Visions at number 2. I realized recently that I'm like, oh wow, I like that show more than
I don't accept your apology.
That's too bad. I don't want your acceptance.
Oh, you can apologize, but take the acceptance.
If you don't take it, fuck if I care.
Well, you've never had the acceptance, so I mean, you don't even. That doesn't even.
I'm just being the polite one here.
All right. So Tales of the my bad. Freaking Visions is your number 2. Longa, you got Tales of the Empire. Me and Longa, I think we're gonna have some pretty consistent rankings here because I have Tales of the Empire at number 2 as well. I think comparing it to the micro series, Rebels, even Visions, Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, whatever. There's only one episode after this I really didn't like, and the rest of them I found the stories to be very compelling. You take a character like Morgan Elsbeth, we know a decent amount of, and make her an even more interesting character. you say same thing with Barris Offee, where you actually get a resolution to the character of her that we've been building up for so long, and it's not like a full dedicated series. It's just these 3 little short vignettes. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really think Tales of the Empire, if they're going to keep doing the Tales of series, doing it the way they did Tales of the Empire, where it's focused and everything, is very good. And also another thing, I think praise for the Tales of the Empire thing. Normally, I feel like if they did something like this, there'd be a lot of complaints about, oh, look at, it's woke because there's 2 female leads and all this crap. I didn't hear anything about that for Tales of the Empire.
Oh, don't forget the pronoun. Don't forget the pronoun. Oh, can't forget the pronoun.
One that
thing. Yeah,
missed.
that's a very small part of it that I didn't really think twice about. I understood. But anyway, they're not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
But that's what good storytelling does, right? Good storytelling is supposed to make you not notice that thing because, and I say this over and over and over again, and people just not seem to understand it. There's nothing wrong with a message, even if it's a message you don't agree with, right? It's fine to push your boundaries on things you don't. But the problem is when the message is the story rather than being a part of the story. In this, it was just a part of the story that you don't notice it unless you're hyper fixating on trying to find those things. Unless you're sitting there like this, way like in the top of your head, you're like, let me hear it. Are you gonna say a pronoun? Are you gonna say a pronoun? And when you hear it, aha! That's the kind of shit. Or if it just hearing that triggers you so bad, if it triggers you that bad, just hearing it, that tells you something then about you. You get what I'm saying? It's like. That's the problem. But the problem when it becomes the story, when that message you're trying to give is the story rather than the universe it's set in, that's when I have a problem with it. Because it's like you just don't know how to write then. I mean, we George was giving us all this fucking Communist Manifesto shit back in the 70s, okay? And you know what? It wasn't the story. It was a part of the story that people didn't realize it until way later. Going, oh man, shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I always love the revisionist stuff with that, where originally when that movie came out, he was like, it's very symbolic of the World War II and the Nazis and the Germany and everything. And then now it's like, oh yeah, of course it was about the Vietnam War. I knew that back then when I was making.
Oh yeah, and it was samurai. Well, again, that's where we get into the whole. Like his imagery was World War II. Right. It wasn't necessarily story. I mean, there was a lot of parallels between the Empire and the Nazis, obviously, but
yeah.
There's a lot of people that compare, and people think it's like now, but again, they were doing it back then. There's a lot of people that compared the government of the United States under Nixon and later to Nazi Germany, and to the Empire. They drew parallels like that back then. The hippies, man, they hated the government. So I mean, it's just.
I've always hated the hippies since the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, and even today. I can't stand them. But my number one. Because like I said, number 2 is Tales of the Empire, like me and Lunga both said. And yet again, me and Lunga agree that number 1 is 2008 Clone Wars. Not the movie, the TV series. Palp Memes, I assume, has
the movie we don't even count. That was such trash.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, everyone almost unanimously says that movie was just not good.
I saw that thing in the theaters, and I remember walking out as an 8-year-old child, and I walked out. I was like, "That fucking sucked."
I remember
an 8-year-old child. All right, you eat up anything when you see Star Wars, right? And I was like, "That sucked."
And you just repeated what Only said earlier when he said, "I watched that, going, George, what are you doing?"
I probably didn't know who George Lucas was.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I it's so funny because I haven't even seen that movie since it came out over like 16 years ago at this point. Like I have not touched that thing with the 10-foot pole. So my number 1 is Clone Wars 2008 because obviously it is the greatest. I love how they explore the prequels. They actually make the clones, like the clone troopers themselves, have arcs, stories,
and that's the important thing. That's the most important thing he did. It took the clones as these just plot devices from the movies.
They're basically droids, soulless, mindless, expendable.
Right. And they humanized them. And that's important because they were clones, but they were living beings. They weren't droids. They weren't expendable. And because they were made expendable by the Republic and an Empire, seeing them that way puts more emphasis, on the inhumanity of it all.
Yeah, and people have built a lot of connection. I'm not a big fan of the clones themselves. Like, there's people who are like, "Who's your favorite clone trooper? What's your favorite battalion? What's your
Yeah,
favorite
I don't go that
armor?"
far.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not really into all that stuff because I think that stuff is the too much of the sci-fi that people focus on in Star Wars. But at the same time, I see the beauty in what they did with that show and moments that we talk about the highs that Palpatine was talking about earlier about the highs in this show or the highs in something like Rebels and everything. The highs in Clone Wars happen with the characters you least suspect it gone too. I mean, even with there's the one episode where there's like these like monkey looking lemur people where they refuse to like have violence or something. Like the droids are bombing them and all that stuff. And Ahsoka and Anakin have to find a way to stuff like that had some impact, even as a kid, or even the episodes where 99, the clone who was like a little disfigured and everything, and he got shot and died when they invaded Camino. Stuff like that had a lot of impact and was very emotional. So it's hard for me to think of anything better in terms of Star Wars animated shows than the Clone Wars because of how many highs that show has. And even something like Mortis, where that takes me to like an obsessed level of love for Star Wars and the lore that they explored and added to the Star Wars canon.
Do you know what really did it for me? Honestly, was the relationship between Obi-Wan and Satine. I thought that was very important.
Yeah,
because it really showed how Obi-Wan, because like the whole thing, well, if Anakin was his brother, how could he have done, because he loved her, but he knew that he couldn't exercise that love, right? And they really displayed that where they, for the period, and a lot of people, say that the Jedi were dogmatic and it was bad at that point and this, that, but he personified what the Jedi Order was in that era.
Because he clearly had a choice too, and he even says to Satine, if you had said the words, I would have left the order. That's very powerful stuff. I love small things like that in the show that give so much more meaning to the characters like Obi-Wan and Anakin. And looking back at it, I mean, it was exactly what Star Wars needed at the exact time that it needed it. So Clone Wars for me is number one. Halpa memes, tell us about 2003 Clone Wars and how great it is. And
hold on. Let's.
All right, I love you because I love Clone Wars 2003.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's better than the original.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have much. I mean, I think it holds up very well. It's fine if you don't like the animation style. And I loved Samurai Jack as a kid too. Obviously, the story, and I'm not going to say or act like it's the greatest story ever told, or it's so well written with so much depth in it. It's simply a pleasurable thing for me personally. I just thoroughly enjoy watching it more than most things Star Wars animated. And because that's number one, it could be a lot of nostalgia. I remember watching them on Cartoon Network when they had the shorts and stuff playing, and then of course I got the DVDs. I have them in my dresser somewhere, and so it could be nostalgic. I like the representation of Anakin in it. It's a controversial opinion. I thought it was more consistent in line with who Anakin is in the prequel trilogy compared to how Anakin is in the Clone Wars. Absolutely. You can say you like Anakin in the Clone Wars more. That's fine. I'm just talking about consistency within the story, how Anakin is the prequels versus how he is in the micro series. And I think it's more consistent. And I do like that.
I think that's the issue.
Buffoon.
Because in the movies, he was very one-dimensional. And the real Clone Wars series, the good one, they fleshed him out much more. They gave it
fully aware. Yeah. I would say they had to do a lot of changing for it
better.
And that's fine. That's fine. That's why I said I get
continuing what we already had.
That's why I said, we always go through this. So I said I understand why people love Anakin in the Clone Wars. And I do like Anakin in the Clone Wars. But I did like the consistency. I do like awkward Anakin, all right? You saw I do like Attack of the Clones. I think it's insane, but I do like Anakin in that movie. It makes sense to me for how he is.
I sympathize
more for
the women,
for
the children.
I slaughtered them. I slaughtered them like animals.
I'm not going to act like the acting was greatest, but in terms of the writing, I thought it was very consistent and it made complete sense for Anakin, for his whereabouts, where he came from, how he is treated as a Jedi in the Order, as a supposed chosen one, being brought in from a slave as a 9-year-old boy. Yeah, no shit, the guy's going to be awkward and not know how to deal with his emotions from monks who are telling him not to deal with emotions. It's like, yeah, of course. I mean, We can say it's cringe, and I get that.
Yeah, but
but
did he need that many emotions? that's just.
I mean,
we could have just tempered it a
they
little
killed his
bit,
mom. They killed his mother. He's talking to a girl for the first time. Yeah, he's gonna be kind of loopy in the head. How old was he in Attack of the Clones? Was 18? Something like that, 18 or 20.
Yeah,
but
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
I'll argue all day. We can say it's cringe, we
I
can say and dislike. That's fine. But I will argue to this day that it is very consistent for Anakin to act the way he does act in Attack of the Clones, whether we like it, whether it's cringe or not.
Completely. I think your points about the Clone Wars, the 2003 version being good, are of course very true. I've thoroughly enjoyed that series. I mean, I think I had it at number 3. But I mean, for me, it's just not number 1. Of course, I think that because of how it just continued the Attack of the Clones and everything, it feels like
it's not the grand. It's not this grand story that of 7 seasons that the Clone Wars, Dave Filoni's Clone Wars is. It is, and that's the big thing that we really got to understand here. It's a very, very different type of show. It's very different. So I'm not even.
Well, in the time period
really like
it
to
came
compare
out
the
too.
two. Well, it's 2003. Yeah, I mean,
this is when I have to put up a comment because. Okay. Anakin Skywalker says, wait, people say Anakin was emotionless in the movie, so choose. Okay, I don't know what people you're listening to or talking to, but these people here have never once said Anakin was emotionless in the movies. We said he was far too emotional. I think we've all said that. None of us have ever said he's emotionless.
Let me put it to you
that about every other character in this series.
Bad acting. That's all it is. Okay.
Do you want to say he was cardboard and kind of flat in his delivery of said emotions? Sure, that's not emotionless. That's just flat.
One thing I've never understood about the whole Anakin thing too, or even the prequels and is people always say like, well, he's supposed to be awkward. It's supposed to be weird. I hate that.
I mean, it's true.
There's awkward, and then there's awkward.
Are we talking? Let's clarify. Are we talking acting, or are we talking actual like writing? Because there's a difference. I don't think
it's a mixture of both.
It's absolutely both.
Okay.
It's I don't even want to say it's writing, because what you see on paper, depending on the actor and the director, completely changes it. So I don't even want to say it's the script, because a good actor, a great actor with the right direction could make the fucking sand line pop. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I think it was a combination of Hayden being very young and inexperienced, and George knowing how to direct.
Yeah. Well, then Lunga, we fundamentally agree with that then, because I will say, like, yeah, the delivery is not what it should be. But when we look at just the writing, it is very consistent. We can cringe at it all we want.
Yeah,
it's consistently bad.
All
right.
Yeah.
So we all have our 8. Now we need to, through the powers that be of online video, Sky, whatever the fuck the shit's called these days. We got to go through these, add up the numbers, divide by 3, and then see what the actual final result is.
Okay, pull out your little Casio calculator watch, because I know you probably still have one of those somewhere, even though I think they were discontinued before you were born.
Possibly. I don't even know what you're talking about. What casserole that you were
Casio.
mentioning.
You never seen those calculator watches? It literally looked like a mini BlackBerry. It was a watch with the LCD digital display, the gray and black, and it had a bunch of little tiny buttons that were in a calculator watch.
Yeah, I grew up with the Swatch. All right, I don't even remember that. The Swatch.
I had a Swatch in high school in the 90s.
Swatch, yeah, that's what I had. All right, so everyone, we got to give
24 for resistance, right?
Okay, 24 for resistance. So yeah, Palpatine's, you do the math here, because I'm going to trust you more. So
I can only do that because I remember where everyone did resistance, which was last.
I'm writing down the number for resistance.
We got 24 for resistance.
Tales of the Jedi. I have that at number 7. Longa, what do you have Tales of the Jedi at?
5.
6.
And okay, so 7, 5, and 6. That's 14. So Tales of the Jedi is I got 14 at the moment. Mm-hmm. All right. What about Bad Batch? What did everybody get for Bad
7?
Batch?
7.
And I got that at 6. 14 divided by 3. That's a 6.6 for the Bad Batch. Of course, it's got to be the fucking special one. And funny that it's 6.6 too, because execute order 66. I'm glad.
Just don't do any Terrence Howard math, please. Okay.
I didn't even remotely attempt to try to understand what the fuck that was about. All right, number 5. What do you guys have for? Oh no, I'm sorry. We just did Bad Batch. We got Tales of the Jedi Resistance. What do you guys have for Visions?
3.
2.
5. So 3 plus 2 plus 5. That's gonna be 5 for Visions. Can't believe you guys have it so fucking high. So Visions is at a 5. Rebels. What do you guys have for Rebels? I have it at number 4.
4.
3.
3 is 3.6. Damn, Rebels is gonna be a high up there. 6. All right. What about the God damn it, Palp memes? What do you guys have for the 2003 micro series?
6.
1.
I got it at 3.
You're literally in the middle, and me and Palpatines are like,
yeah,
I know. Oh my god, micro series. All right. Tales of the Empire. I know me and Lunga got that at a 2. Palpatines, what do you got it at?
5.
5. Okay. Divided by 3. And last but certainly not least, Clone Wars 2008. Me and Lunga have it at 1. Palpatines, what'd you have it at again?
Palpatines is literally skewing all the results of everything.
It's so bad. And Lunga,
At least Goldman's not here. Goldman would be worse than me. Let's be fair.
No,
Rebels would have been
Rebels
would have been number 1.
Goldman would put yes.
No,
Rebels would have been number 1.
Well, that's true. But when the movies happened, we did the ranking of the movies when it was just me, Palpatines, and Goldman. Yo, you fucked it up, Palpatines, because you were like Rise of Skywalker number 1. Fucking asshole.
Did I put that at number 1 or Revenge of the Sith? It was one of the two.
I think he liked the 2000. I think he didn't like the 2003 Clone Wars, right?
Probably not.
I think he would. I think if I would guess Goldman's ranking, it would have been number 1 Rebels, everything else 8. I think that's probably what he would have said.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They're all tied for 8.
I'm very curious.
Rebels is number 1.
Boom. Sorry, I'm doing a little double checking on the math just to make sure we got this list correct because it's looking pretty funny to me. So
why does this feel like the 2016 exit polls? This is what it feels like to me. It's like we can't trust these
can we
numbers.
get a recount, please?
We can't trust these numbers here.
Sorry, guys.
In Florida.
Well, the exit polls showed a completely different result.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on.
That was 2020 when overnight.
Sorry about that. We'll get back to you guys in the morning.
We'll count overnight.
All right, so here's the final ranking, gentlemen. And for all of you,
Go from worst to best, please.
Oh, duh.
All right, I just making sure.
Go top to bottom.
Well, at least we don't have to worry about the worst. We know where that one is. That one is unanimous.
It's Clone Wars,
the only unanimous
decision that we had. So for the millions watching at home, get your list out, see how it compared to us, because this is the official, undisputed ranking of the Star Wars animated shows. At number 8, Resistance. We unanimously agreed on that. This is where we start to differ a little bit from mine. At number 7, we have the Bad Batch. Unfortunately, very sad.
Yeah, it's going with mine so far.
Yeah. Number 5 is where it's going to break off, Lunga. We got
number
Vision.
6.
I mean, my bad. This is number 5. No, 8, 7, 6.
Oh.
Yeah, number 6. Sorry, number 6 is Visions.
Yeah, that's
number
wrong.
5. I know it's wrong, but it's what we did. All right. So 8 Resistance, 7 Bad Batch, 6 Visions, number 5 Tales of the Jedi.
That's what I had.
Okay. I think I had a little bit lower. Number 4 is Rebels.
That's what I had. This list is literally mine, except for a few.
Yeah.
A few Palpatine skewed votes.
It's a rigged election.
Number 3, and this lines up with me, the 2003 micro series. Look at that.
And that's literally where they flop. I had the 2003 ranks 6 and it's 3, and I had Visions rank 3 and it's 6. They just switched places.
Yep.
Because of Palpamemes, he had them 1 and 2.
Well, I mean, Tales of the Jedi was really low for me, so that fucked you guys. And then Visions.
Yeah, no, I had it at 5, which is what this one came out. At. This is exactly the same.
6.
Me and you got a lot.
It's almost dead on.
Number
for
2
mine.
is Tales of the Empire.
That's what I had. Yeah,
the only is Clone Wars.
The official list is basically mine, but swapping Visions and the micro series. Everything is exactly my order, except those two are like this because of Palpamemes.
The election was rigged. I demand a recount. I did not lose.
The only things that I have like different, because I kind of have it as the list, is with Clone Wars being number 1, Tales of the Empire number 2, micro series number 3, Rebels number 4, Resistance number 8, dead last. But the 7, 6, and 5, I have those a little different. Like I have Tales of the Jedi at number 7. I have Bad Batch at number 6. Number 5, I have Visions. So that's where we kind of differed on. Palpamemes, just wanting to be the little unicorn that he is, and just so rare and mystical, wants to just throw these numbers at a wall, shake them up, stomp them, spit them in a pinball machine, and then come out and tell you that the 2003.
We should have gotten Goldman's ranking before we did the show, but we weren't planned at all for this. This is, yeah,
no, that was too much, right? Just
too
doing
much
this
work
tonight.
He wouldn't respond, and he'd respond like a week later and say, "Okay, hold on," and then not give it to us.
I moved into a new apartment like last Thursday, and I didn't know until like maybe Wednesday that I was even going to be able to move in because of all this other shit that went on behind the scenes. So hopefully the audio does sound better. At least it sounds nice on my end in this new place and everything. But yeah, no, it was a busy week. So you guys, you had a week off from us. We're back. And starting next week, it's all about the Acolyte, baby. Unless there's some news from God himself that like Jon Favreau took over at Lucasfilm, we're really going to be covering the Acolyte for the next 2 months, I think, maybe a month and a half. So
it's gonna be 8 episodes. The first 2 are about 2 months.
Yeah. So a month and a half, and then adding. It's basically 2 months, because what we're gonna do is next week we're gonna do a preview for the show. We're gonna talk about our predictions, stuff about the cast,
review some of the big trailers and TV spots I've gotten. Because those are really cool.
Get some predictions going and seeing, because we did some predictions for the Bad Batch, and I got that motherfucker dead on in the beginning. So we're gonna do the same thing for the Acolyte, and then when the Acolyte ends, we're gonna do the same thing we did with Ahsoka, where we do like a series review,
full recap,
the week after the last episode. Yeah, so buckle your belts, gentlemen and ladies, and our beautiful channel.
Also, I think we may have already known this, but they did say the time now. Finally, the Acolyte does release on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So thankfully, we'll watch it Tuesday evening, and then Wednesday the following day we'll be able to do our show on it. So that's nice that we're not going to have to.
I won't be able to watch it Tuesday evening because that's my D&D nights. But
you'll still be able to.
My job is I'll have the middle of the day Wednesday to watch it. So.
Yeah. So in that case, that because I remember that was always a problem for us, was we would review the episode like a week after, and by then the hype has died down.
There he is.
Yeah, see, he would have fucked it all up. He would have fucked it all up with that.
Yes.
Would have been way worse.
Well, maybe we can do. It doesn't have to be all of us, but I might even try to do some watch parties on like the Discord if you guys who are listening want to watch the Acolyte at the same time and everything. I'd be down to do something like that. I haven't done that in a while. But yeah, Acolyte starts in 2 weeks. Next week we're going to do some predictions on it.
And we could do one of the episodes. We can do as the perk for the member only live stream for the highest the high level one.
Yeah,
we could do one of those watch parties for that.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
See, so did I predict it or what? I told you. He would have said Rebels is number 1. Everything else is tied for 8. Exactly what I said.
The fascination with like this childish kiddie show where the droid is floating outside and the butterflies.
He does have Clone Wars. He does have Clone Wars as number 2. So I was wrong there.
Yeah, no.
Wait. Which one?
Same.
Goldman. The 2003 micro series or the?
He's not gonna say micro series. Only Palpamemes is that bold to say something like that.
Oh, fuck you. You had it as 3.
Yeah, it was good. It's not fucking number 1. God damn it. So Final ranking for the animated Star Wars shows. Last place, Resistance. Then we got Bad Batch, Visions, Tales of the Jedi, Rebels, the Clone Wars micro series, Tales of the Empire, and last but not least, at number 1, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Don't care what Palpatine says. Don't care what Goldman says. Clearly, me and Lunga have the most accurate list.
Yes, thank you, Goldman. I was arguing with Star Wars Only about that earlier.
Who gives a fuck?
When you are talking about both, you must specify.
No,
you have
you
to.
must not. You can just say 2003. You can say a micro series.
But it's called Star Wars Clone Wars.
No one ever goes, "Hey, did you ever watch Star Wars Clone Wars?" No, they go, "You ever watch Star Wars: The Clone Wars?" No, and no one's like, "Which one are you talking about?" We all know what you're talking about.
Okay, listen. If we gotta be concerned about pronouns, we also gotta be concerned about definite articles. Okay,
thank you.
The is a definite article. We need to respect the definite articles.
Y'all sound like the people who make the Fast and Furious franchise names.
Oh, of course, he's gonna come in here at the very end and give us his list.
He put Clone Wars last, of course. We called it.
Yeah.
How did you put Bad Batch ahead of Empire? That's insane.
Wait, how did you throw Forces of Destiny in the middle there? What the fuck is
that come from? I told you guys about that. You're like, it's a series, it's a YouTube thing. I'm like, we're called the Chatooine Show. What are we called? We're called the Chatooine Show. What the fuck are we on? We're on YouTube.
No one watched it, dude. Not a soul.
I watched it.
Then you're a fucking weirdo because I ain't never met nobody in my life who ever watched no Forces.
Well, apparently Goldman did because he has it ranked second to last.
Yeah,
but not even Visions. Visions isn't even included in the list. Right?
Not even included in his list.
He put Resistance ahead of Tales of the Empire.
It's number 3. He has it number 3.
Oh, Visions? Oh.
Yeah, which is where I had it at. Yeah.
All y'all's opinions are trash except
But he has Bad Batch number 4. Ooh, Resistance number 5.
What's worse, me putting the Clone Wars at number 4 or him putting Resistance at number 5?
I'm so disappointed in all three of you. And myself.
We gotta balance it out.
Excuse me?
Lunga, you let
number 1 and 2 we matched.
Happen.
All right?
Yeah, but you hated the 03 Clone Wars.
I have no control over you fucking children. So,
I know. Well, we got to step our game up. So thank you guys for tuning into this episode. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you're still here enjoying this nonsense, please leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Follow us on all the social medias, link in the description below. And like we said at the beginning of the show, that new Discord is out and about and is ready to go. So if you guys want to chat with us a little bit more often, we'll be in there every day talking about stuff for Star Wars, what's going on in the world of Star Wars. And as the Acolyte comes around, we'll start talking about that in the Discord too. So make sure you join our Discord server. The link is in the description below. Tune in next week. Next Wednesday night, we're covering the Acolyte, the predictions and everything that going into that. And it's going to be a fun little 2 months ahead just dealing with the Acolyte. I'm very excited about
I'm very excited for this show. I have a lot of expectations.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because everybody's going to be watch it Tuesday night.
Great.
And then Wednesdays we come in. It's going to be.
That's great. It's going to be great. That's going to be great. It's going to be great.
That's going to be great, indeed. And it will be great. Or else I'll have a Star Wars meltdown.
God damn it. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you all next week for the Acolyte predictions. May the Force be with you always.
What?